Do you have, I mean, I know that this is a new field. I haven't looked too much into it. Do you have any insight? Like what does make, say, content on the web AI optimized? If you have any idea.
In my experience, I'm finding that a good understanding of natural language processing goes a long way, and how AI understands human language, but also how Google understands human language. Structured data like schema markup, but also things like, just having really good quality backlinking as well, for crawl. Yeah.
Because I know that like they have the meme or the graphic that goes around that Reddit is the #1 most cited source of like ChatGPT or the LLMs. But I wonder also if part of that is just like the huge amount of content on Reddit, right? Where it's like, well, it's a huge amount of content and it has so many different topics on it, right? And so it's probably going to be Reddit or Wikipedia, or something like that. It's probably going to be the answer one way or another, whether they're trying to make it useful for AI or not. Okay, and then what kind of automations are you thinking about?
Well, some of the things that really intrigued me is what Julian has talked about in generating leads for his own business. And then also, I mean, I think as I'm like going through some things, I'm starting at the very beginning right now, but as I'm going through things, I'm also hoping to get some new ideas of where I might be able to automate certain things. In the past, I've tried to create my own AI agents and failed miserably. So I'm not totally sure what my limits are, but I think as I learn more, I'm going to get a good grasp on that.
Well, if you failed miserably, that's a good start. That's the beginning, is failure, right? The Zuckerberg, go fast and break things or something like that. You need to start failing before you can start succeeding. And then, we do have on Thursdays, we do our N8N coaching call where we go over an N8N agentic workflow. But then there's also in the N8N classroom, there's a bunch of N8N workflows. I know there's a couple at least that are on lead generation in there. And then what I always tell people is, if you're trying to automate a workflow and have an agent do something, really test out, well, one is figure out if this is actually necessary, right? Like I think that way too often we just are building agentic workflows because they sound like a good idea in our head. And it's like, well, is that really going to save you time? Is that going to provide an ROI? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And then from there, testing out each individual piece of it and making sure that each piece is doing what it's supposed to and providing value. And that can take time. I'm doing one now that's like a LinkedIn commenter, essentially. And it is an iterative process. The actual functionality of it does work, but then I don't know, it always comes up with something new that it screws up on. And then also LinkedIn I think they're changing, that they're trying to stay ahead of you. And so then they change things, and so then I need to change things. And so really you can get a basic workflow put together pretty quickly, but one that works and provides value for you, you may need to experiment with and pilot out, and it can be helping you as you go. But to fully automate it sometimes takes a lot of experimentation.
Makes sense.
All right. Who else? Silvio. I feel like Silvio, you're new, or you've just been turning on your camera recently because I don't know if I recognize you. Are you new, Silvio? Your mic is off, so you can either take your mic off or you can just do things in the chat and say hi. I might need to come back to you. You have a very confused face for your mic. Yes. No problem. Okay. Let's see who else. Oh, there you go.
I apologize.
You don't have to apologize. There's no apologies on AI Profit Boardroom.
So many tabs open over here. Yeah, I'm new over here. I've been here for 2 weeks. Actually, that's one of the first calls over here that I've been participating now. I have some experience with Make.com, but not much with N8N. I have some projects in mind. I've been trying to automate it, Medium posts, but for some reason, Medium posts, they don't have an API anymore. I mean, who had it, they are able to do it, but I'm trying to find the solutions how to make posts, automatic posts with Medium. I can post it on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, except Medium.
So if Medium got rid of their API, potentially what you can do, and this is a little bit more advanced though, is there's things like Beautiful Soup and Selenium, where it'll basically control the browser for you and then allow you, like, you can use it to circumvent the API system. If they don't have an API anymore, that's probably your #1 solution. And then, similar to what I was telling Eric, like part of it is just, making sure that you're generating good Medium articles first, right? And like getting the LLM prompted right, generating good articles. And potentially at the start, you're just posting them yourself, right? Because, until you know that you're getting good articles out of it, it's not as worthwhile. And while you're doing that, getting, either a Python script or even adding a sort of code node into N8N shouldn't be that big of a deal. Although a lot of these companies do make it just more and more difficult. Or as I was saying, LinkedIn changed around how they were doing things. And so it broke one of my Selenium-based.
Yeah, especially because they keep changing the names of the classes, so the IDs. So it makes really hard. I know because I'm familiar with Python before starting doing no code automation, and that's what I was been doing, Python.
Yep, they're trying to stay ahead of us. And I guess now probably what they're going to start doing is like using AI against us, right? Where they're going to have an AI go through and then rename all the classes, right? And rename all the ID codes so that it updates faster for them, and then they can probably keep on a more revolving system. Fun. Okay. And then I don't know if I'm going to say this name right at all. Hunke, are you new?
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Hi.
How'd I do?
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. What brings you to AI Profit Boardroom?
Yeah, I'm doing N8N for a while for my company requirements, and willing to go deeper on the AI business, and looking for opportunities if I can set up my own business in this area. Also trying to get as much as I can.
Okay. What kind of like automations are you trying to build on N8N? What kind of business do you have?
Yeah, mainly data scraping
from
company internal resources as well. Also web scraping for some opportunity creations, creating activities. We are trying to do as much as I can, touching to everything, but trying to also focus one by one to the problems to solve and provide good solutions for the company. It goes well at the moment. I'm working on that. I had a long experience before. I had a break for 5 years in the IT. Now I'm slightly coming back.
Yeah, awesome. Data scraping. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that is a pretty good use case for N8N, especially because of how much content or like how automated it would need to be. We think maybe it was in one of our automations, or it came up at one point in time. Maybe I brought it in for a coaching call, but there is a platform, and I forget the name, which makes this very unhelpful. But it was like AI enabled data scraping for websites where they were, it was a plugin that you could use, and then it was using AI to do smart scraping for you. Because like when you scrape a website, there's a bunch of junk in it.
Is that Clay?
Apify?
I don't know.
Clay probably.
Apify has a whole bunch of actors over there. Apify. A-P-I-F-Y.
I think that is actually Apify. You're right.
Has a whole bunch of actors.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, who else? I think that every platform now is trying to counter move AI. Yes. Eric grew up near Van Nuys. Awesome. I am very close to Van Nuys right now. I don't know what it says for me, but I am in North Hollywood, which is not, this is very different than Hollywood for anybody who's not in Los Angeles. I think that every platform now is trying to counter move AI automations, basically due to the poor content most people post as their debut. One thing I learned this year is that whatever works now, a month or two, is obsolete due to the abuse. This is contrary to what this really must find. Yeah, we are going to be in a very tumultuous time, right? And certain platforms or really AI forward companies are going to be doing things to sort of counter AI. I also think some of them are going to start to just let it happen, let it wash over them, right? Where you're seeing on some of the social media platforms where what did I posted something to LinkedIn. No, what did I post it to? No, on Vimeo, because I created this commercial for my AI business using AI to make the whole commercial. And when I posted it to Vimeo, it wanted me to check something as to whether or not it was generated with AI. And then I know that YouTube said that they were going to start like penalizing people if they're using AI. But I don't even know where they're going with this idea, because a lot of it's just going to be AI generated pretty soon. And if it's not AI generated, I've brought this up before, so much of what we do already has forms of AI in it that it is such a gray area, right? I use this example a lot, which is that the autofocus on your camera phone uses AI to actually autofocus, right? And then visual effects have been using AI for years or for decades, essentially. And then, you know, what if you use a little bit of AI and then you use a little bit of regular footage? At what point is something AI and it should be a problem? And then, you know, we're going to probably in the next year or two start to see fully, I mean, I guess not fully is like a strange term, I guess, but like movies that are very, very much AI generated, right? And so once that starts happening, you know, is this more similar to saying, you know, hey, we don't want any videos that are shot on digital cameras with visual effects? Because there is obviously a difference here. It's a much larger jump, but it may just be the evolutionary jump in those things. And it'd be ridiculous right now, right, to say that if YouTube was to say, hey, we don't want any videos on here that were shot digitally with visual, that's almost every video that's on YouTube, right, is using that. And that could be the future, right? In like 10-ish years, there's probably still going to be some people shooting things with like real people and real content. But a huge amount of it will have some form of AI to it, right? In some way, shape, or form. Facebook just lets it happen. That's good to them because people use ads a lot. That brings up a great point, which is Meta just did an announcement. They are adding like new AI tools for their advertisers. Let me see. I just saw this ad. So they're doing AI dubbing for video ads, AI music for ads, HDR video enhancement. And so if you're using Facebook ads, they have a new AI enabled sort of solution. And then again, like there's that, right? Where it's like, you know, Facebook isn't, like as you're saying, they're not even penalizing people for doing AI. They're adding AI tools to their platform, right? So like, how could they tell you, we don't want AI ads or AI content on here? They're enabling you to do it. Right. And it's also strange that YouTube would have any issue with it when you consider who owns YouTube, right? Where they are, why is it like the type of thing where, hey, we don't want AI content unless you make it on VO3 because they really want people to use VO3, right? And then the same thing like Nano Banana, you know, they're really pushing Nano Banana. So it's like, well, if I use Nano Banana and VO3 to make content, why would YouTube have a problem with that? And so I think that we're getting a lot of reactions right now to things, and a lot of people who are scared and are creating friction. But you know, if I look at like last year where things were at with image generation, video generation, and sort of the limitations with it, where it was like, well, we're having trouble with consistent characters and the video generation models just aren't that good. Where we're at now, I mean, the technology is there at this point. You still need to put some more of the pieces together yourself. I keep on saying this, that like somebody's going to do a real AI movie pretty soon, without needing, you know, OpenAI funded one for $30 million or something like that, some $30 million project. Someone's going to make one for like $5,000 that's going to look crazy. And then what do? You know, where is that going after that point? You mentioned Reddit earlier. I agree that it's a prime source for AI to gather information. Do the classes cover using AI to automate content on Reddit? I don't know all of our content. If you check, I think you can do a search. I know that we had one where it was posting things to LinkedIn, Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube. I don't know if Reddit was one of them. But if not, possibly, if we don't have anything for Reddit, maybe we can suggest that to Vic and Julian, and we will get an HeyGen Reddit workflow. Let me see. Is there anybody else new on here? Doug, are you new? If you are, you can turn on your mic. Even if you're not new, you can turn on your mic and say what's up, or just throw something in the chat. I don't think Marv Johnson is new. I feel like I've seen Marv before. Silvio's got a little, what do you got? Somebody else is photobombing you in the back. Do you know about Curious Refugee? Where is that? It's an AI filmmaking community. Oh, was invited to work on Hollywood studios because they're so advanced in the space. One of the community coach. I did not know about AI Refugee, but our Curious Refugee. But that is going to start happening more and more. One of the examples I love to give people is Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park comes out in 1995. And if you pay attention in Jurassic Park, they have both like real dinosaur puppets, right? Like they have animatronic dinosaurs, and then they have visual effects dinosaurs, right? And it's really the seamless blending of the two, which makes Jurassic Park very timeless, right? Where the visual effects in Jurassic Park still hold up really well. And if you look at a lot of other projects that were made that same year, the visual effects look terrible. So you had some of the greatest sort of live action puppet animatronic masters working on Jurassic Park, right? Steven Spielberg's making Jurassic Park, so they're working on it. And you have this marriage between visual effects and animatronic puppetry. And some of the animatronic puppet people saw the visual effects and were like, no, that's garbage. That is not real. We're doing real art over here. We're going to stick with this. And then there were other people who were doing that, and they looked at it like, no, that's the future. Let me get into that. And because if you see how like 3D modeling works, a lot of 3D modeling actually requires the skill of being a real modeler in real life. Like you're just sort of using a different tool to do modeling. And so the ones who adopted the VFX CGI 3D modeling became the pioneers and like some of the heads of the 3D modeling CGI world. And then the other ones died off like dinosaurs, right? And so when you are faced with a new technology that is doing amazing things, I think that there are two different types of people, right? There's the ones who are like, no, that's hype. I don't want to go along with that. And I think that there is a validity in that, right? We see a lot of hype out there for things, and they don't actually return the promise that they said. I would say like 3D TVs, right? I don't know if 3D TVs worked out as well. Or mini discs. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough, or guys and gals who are, oh, yep, mini discs, right? Smaller CDs themselves, right? Who even has CDs anymore? But I mean, CDs did have their time. There was definitely a business model and a lot of money made off of CDs. But AI, I think we're at the tipping point now where if you think that AI is just a fad, and it's just hype, you're probably going to die off like a dinosaur, right? If you are not adopting it and trying to use it and figuring out ways how to leverage it. And as I brought up at the beginning, like, you're going to fail. Like, get those failures out of the way quick. During this time when they're still figuring out the technology, when MIT is saying 95% of projects don't provide an ROI, great. This is the best time to be learning, to becoming a battle scar seasoned veteran, right? To learn all of these mistakes and how to get over them, and then over the next few years, how to then execute and be able to achieve your goals and be able to automate things. Because again, like, it does seem like AI is everywhere, but good AI is not everywhere yet. And really the difference between good AI and bad AI is the HI, right? The human intelligence. Having smart ideas on how to leverage AI, executing it, iterating on it, making sure that if it doesn't work at first, if it's a good idea, just keep on trying. And at some point in time, you should be able to unlock it, especially with help from LLMs. AI can help you with it, right? Vibe coding, or even using them as a reference tool, using them as a troubleshooting guide, things like that can really get you through. And then also having a community in coaching calls like this. I think that even if sometimes things are not directly happening, sometimes it can be indirectly happening, right? We're getting those ideas, like having new thoughts in your brain, inspiration for something and then that opens things up and clicks. Is Curious Refugee on IG? I would have to imagine that they are, but Code Zero, I see AI as your mirror. You have to think about how to solve things, then leverage AI pattern recognition to realize that most technical knowledge. Well, I think that's also, it's your mirror, but it's also like a more intense mirror, right? Another study that was showing that people who use ChatGPT, their brains and their problem solving ability decreased, right? If they showed it over like whatever 2 months or something like that, they did brain scans on them. I feel like it's a complete opposite for me. I feel like my ability to problem solve, to ideate, and how to build has only gotten better because of AI and using LLMs. If you just use it to copy and paste and to turn off your brain, then that's one thing. But if you use it to expand your abilities and to use it as a mentor and as an assistant instead of having it do all your work for you, then it could take you to the next level. Let me see. So Doug, I feel like is maybe new. GP, possibly new. Natalie, Omar, I don't feel like you're new, but I could be wrong. Claude, maybe. And if any of you are new, turn on your mics, let me know what brought you here, drop a message in the chat.
Jeff, to what you were saying, yeah, I think the majority of people who I use AI, and they have like the ChatGPT app on their phone. Yeah, they're probably getting a little bit dumber, but for me, is using it to create, and I mean, it's taught me a new way of thinking.
Yeah, no, I totally, no, I think that it can supercharge you, right? Like where if you couldn't build websites before, it could help you build a website, and now you can start to understand, oh, like this is how a website flow is supposed to work. Oh, like these are the issues that you're going to run into. How do I troubleshoot this? Let me have AI help me. I think the same thing could be true of, like, say, social media, right? They said social media is terrible for you. My Instagram feed is filled with like exercise, help, dietary help, self-help, and like how to get more out of your mental state and like how to relieve stress. And then like AI updates, there is some other stuff in there that's kind of junky, but I feel like if you use your social media right, then it can be an incredible resource, right? The same thing with YouTube, right? Where we talk about how we have to get kids off of screen time, and YouTube is terrible and YouTube is killing Hollywood. It's like YouTube is the greatest teacher, between YouTube and ChatGPT and Claude, you can learn anything you want, anything. It's no longer gate kept. You don't need to go to MIT. You don't need to go to Harvard. I mean, those places are great to go to network and to have that sheepskin. But if you want to learn anything, the best place to go is YouTube, ChatGPT, and Claude, essentially, and maybe Perplexity. Okay, anybody have any questions? Ooh, there we go. That's Curious Refugee. I'll check that out. Any questions from anybody? Today's Q&A day. Oh, these look pretty cool. Very realistic looking, which is sometimes the issue, like the lighting. I wonder if there's one here, this guy who's looking up and his back is against the wall. Is that lighting and just color correction? Maybe it's the color correction that they did to make it feel right. You just don't usually see things that cinematic in a lot of AI work. Yeah, very cool. Hey, GP, what brings you to AI Profit Boardroom? You can either turn on your mic or throw something in the chat. While we're waiting, I'll introduce myself. I'm Dr. Jeff, PhD in neuroscience from USC. After I graduated, nobody cared about AI, so I spent years working in sales, marketing, and operations, and then got back into AI about 7 years ago, working on machine learning and computer vision and NLP projects. And now I do a lot of Gen AI, RAG LLM systems, GraphRAG systems, autonomous AI agents, image generation and video generation. I'm working on a pretty cool image video generator system right now, which is why I'm always probably bringing up that topic. Code Zero, yes, they are original filmmakers that moved early into the AI space and applies best filmmaking practices. Yeah, I signed up. Oh, okay. Natalie's brand new. Signed up last night and immediately started on the 6-week intro course. I'm here to use AI to make my life easier. Natalie, give me a few examples of how you're trying to make your life easier with AI. You can either turn on your mic or throw it in the chat. Or if anybody else has any questions that they want to throw out there, today's Q&A day.
Hey everybody, this is Jordi. So I joined a couple of days ago. One of the reasons I joined was I really wanted to know how Julian is making the AI avatar videos on YouTube.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
one thing I would like to hear about, because I started the course. There's a ton of things here and there, and I'm trying to find what makes more sense for me to dive into, because I believe I'm pretty advanced in coding and a little bit AI. So
Yeah. So if you heard Justin threw it out there, so HeyGen is one of the platforms that you can use to do AI avatar generation. There's another one that I've used before that's also really good. I'm gonna see if I can look it up while we're on the call.
you mean the script probably is the other one?
What's the other one?
The issue with the script actually.
I don't think so. Not synesthesia. I
Um,
haven't used that one.
So the issue for me with AI
Yeah.
is quite small generation limit. Like you can't do a 30-minute video like Julian is doing. So
Yeah, well, I should actually probably check out. I don't watch a lot of the content. He's doing 30-minute like straight. There's no cuts in him at all.
no, it feels pretty natural. Probably someone's making the video. I don't know if there's
Right.
AI involved in the video, because usually he's showing the browser or some notes and stuff. But there's a speaking head always showing, and the lips try to sync. You can see it's not real, but it's quite good.
I mean, yeah. And then I just saw Kling, which is not going to give you a half hour, but they extended theirs for 60 seconds to do AI avatar work. And really, I would say for the most part, like just so I do have a background in production, typically you don't want, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if I can find the other app that I used to do this with. And it is somewhere. It starts with an S, I feel like. And it's not synesthesia. But you don't really typically need something like one shot to go on for longer than a minute. And so, like, because you do typically want to break it up with like B-roll or a graphic or something like that. Is it in video? I don't think so. I have no idea. I'm not going to be able to find it. But HeyGen is a really good platform. And then I would say also like Kling.
So if you wanted to replicate like what Julian's doing on YouTube, you would make like 30 scripts, 30 different videos, upload, cut, merge, whatever.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and then you could set up an automation, right, that would just piece them together afterwards, potentially throw in different AI images or videos from VO3 based on topics. I would try to set it up so that there is a little bit more of a human in the loop aspect to it. With something like HeyGen, you probably don't need to check that too much, because there's going to be parts that feel a little clunky one way or another, and so you just have to like go like allow it to happen. And then when it comes to AI video generation, that could be a little bit more like it's not HeyGen where they're like making an elephant fly through the air or whatever. You may want to have a little bit of oversight over that, but for sure, again, like I bring this up, if you use something like HeyGen and then something that's going to stitch all the pieces together, and then a bulk processing system that gets you a bunch of VO3 videos, or I guess Sora 2. Anybody's got the Sora 2 invite, let me know. I'm trying to get you have the invites?
Oh no, 2 of them are gone. You get 2.
Oh, do you?
One in another community, and it was great. It was like a chat room. Hey, if you get your Sora 2 invite, post it here. Here's mine, and it was just like a chain.
I'm still trying to get one. Although I was using Ray 3 is pretty. What's up?
It's really frustrating.
Is it?
Like you put anything. I'm like, put me in, like, trying to create like a Game of Thrones thing, and you can't say Game of Thrones.
Right.
I'm like, Game of Thrones, or the fantasy world with dragons, kingdoms, basically saying what Game of Thrones was, and it was like, we cannot make this video. You must edit it. There's violence, self-harm. I'm like, I didn't even say there was a battle.
Right. No, so both VO3 and Sora 2 are terrible with that. That's why I brought this up last week when we went into Hugging Face. So there is an open source model called WAN. I don't know what they're on now. I think it's WAN 2.5. Yes. When you use those, they don't care. They'll let you make whatever. Yeah. They'll let you do whatever. And so that, and possibly that is like, how to put a bunch of different tools in your tool belt, right? Is that like, for a lot of this, I will use this one, video generator, but then, when I want to have people killing each other or doing whatever, then maybe you need to use WAN. I also just saw, and I haven't looked into this, Higgsfield. I guess Higgsfield, they released a video generator. All I've seen is what's on my Instagram timeline. I have to look into it because their whole thing is they're doing very cinematic shots, and they show that like it can take a shot and then like have cool camera moves or have the camera move through objects as it's doing things. They purport something about how they trained it on a bunch of Netflix content. As far like, I mean, that's part of what they're saying. It's like 90,000 hours of Netflix content or something is what it's been trained on. And so we're basically there with the video generation where you have to figure out ways around it. If you just try to use Sora to do everything, you're going to make a pretty G-rated movie. But if you wanted to make something and you were willing to sit there and put all the pieces together like you would for a regular movie, you know, you can make a sci-fi. You can make an animated sci-fi that's like, you know, fun-loving or whatever. And then just an FYI, so like these days, so I'm in the filmmaking world now. You know, most independent filmmakers don't go through, say, Netflix or Hulu is dead right now, so there's no more Hulu. Really, it's all about Tubi, right? And so if you can make a good enough project, probably in say like the horror realm, which definitely is going to make it so you can't use Sora 2, or like you use Sora for a whole bunch of it, and then you use Juan for, you know, the 50 shots that you need that are horror filled. If you could do something that's good enough, you can get it on there, you know, and then just start collecting ad revenue money, you're good to go. But we are definitely going to start seeing, especially with what they can do now. There are still some limitations. Getting consistent characters is tough, but really the solution there is to use something like, say, Nano Banana to keep your characters consistent the entire time, because I know most of the video generators are not going to do that. So then you just get the images, and then you have the video generators animate those images, and then use 11 Labs to fill in the voices later, and boom, you got yourself a movie. It's that easy, you know. Boom, boom, boom. It'll take you a few hours and you got a movie. Todd just signed up this morning. Todd, what are you looking to get out of the AI Profit Boardroom besides listening to me talk way too much? What is the best way to use a D or cartoon AI avatar?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, first of all, thanks for the Q&A. I think I work in a highly regulated industry, but I think what I'm looking for, based on some of the Goldie agency, you know, Julian's YouTube videos, is maybe automation for potentially lead generation in my industry, because it's going to be really hard for me to maybe streamline certain processes. But also my wife and I are kind of looking at maybe a side hustle that could incorporate some of what I do professionally. And I guess true automation, you know, the larger scope of AI could come into play in that regard, because I won't have the same regulatory burdens. And then I also have a 3-year-old, so the world is obviously changing in terms of what kind of education development curriculum is going to, and so I'm trying to stay a little bit in front of that. So it's kind of 3-pronged. 1 is for professional use, 2 is for maybe an evolving side hustle, and 3, you know, just development.
So a few things there. So lead generation has come up a few times today, and maybe we'll try to. I did a little bit of lead generation on the Dr. Jeff special probably like a month ago, and I think that maybe if we could get some more definitions around the type of lead generating people want to do, I can add another one. Because again, like you can, there's all kinds of different ways to lead generate, right? Where are you getting your initial, you know, contacts, and then how are you reaching out to them? Are you doing it through LinkedIn? Are you doing it through email, phone, you know, using an AI voice system? I've worked on a variety of different versions of that. And then I'll tell you, so for highly regulated, people in highly regulated industries are worried about AI, and just that, like, because of the data aspect, right? And that you need to do like data audits, you need to be able to have a clear chain of ownership over your data. And then this is why, again, like last week when we went over Hugging Face is a great resource for this, because Hugging Face has open source models that you can run on your own, and they essentially have open source versions of every different type of model out there. So it's like you could go to ChatGPT or OpenAI, or you can use Anthropic and Claude, or Hugging Face has another, they have Llama, or they have Mistral, or they have some other LLM that you can use, and you can keep everything on your computer, right? Keep everything local so that you're not sending your data to OpenAI or Anthropic or anything like that. And then if you do make if it's all for your personal use, I would suggest that. And then even if you need to, if your computer is maybe not fast enough to handle an LLM, I also did a previous coaching call, and we can bring this one back if people are interested. Google Colab. Google Colab is a great resource. As long as you have a Google account, you can host models in your Google Drive and then use Google Colab to run them. And you get, if you needed to run your own LLM through Google Colab, you'd get a few hours a day. So you could set up a script on there. It would load the model from your Google Drive, and everything would stay within your own domain. And then I totally hear you about having a 3-year-old. I have a 10-year-old right now. And so last year, she won a national award from the PTA for her documentary about a three-legged cat. She won it locally for her county, and she won it for California. And then she won it in her age group for the entire country. And I have been trying to figure out, when do I teach her how to make AI videos? Because there is still that value in her being a traditional maker, and that's kind of what she, but then the future for her, right, is going to be new generation mostly. It's hard to explain it to a 10-year-old. It's like, yeah, I know that, like, it makes sense. You see everybody else using cameras and you want to use a camera, but hey, you should actually learn how to do AI videos. And then like the PTA competition she's in, they will let her do AI videos, but we'll see how long that lasts, right? By the time she has her own kids, it's probably all going to be AI videos in these PTA competitions. But yeah, like let's for lead generation, yeah, if anybody wants to go in a little bit more detail of how they're looking to generate leads with AI, I can potentially put together something for us.
I mean, I'm happy to share a little bit about what I'm looking to do. So, well, first of all, congratulations to your child for winning that. That's great. And like I said, I'm more concerned about what the construct of maybe education and development is going to look like in 15 years and college, whatever. So I think that's probably going to change rapidly. And so that's kind of why I wanted to be on kind of the front end, because I'm also just crossed 50. I'm an old first-time father. In terms of lead gen, so I work as almost like an international financial advisory. So like a global family office for sub 100 million. But and I'm having obviously a very, very good year, and it's bath time in Barcelona right now, so I apologize if it gets a little crazy. But the reason I mention it, as you can tell by the accent, native to the US, and so I have a lot of clients or prospective opportunities moving from the US to Europe and the UK. So it's more about utilizing AI to try and get in front of some of these people that are in motion. I'm having a wonderful year, as you can imagine, but at the same time, I'd like to try to figure out how to get maybe automation to pre-qualify, because I'm also burning a lot of hours going through maybe unqualified opportunities. So, it's kind of sifting through what's out there. And people are finding me lots of ways, LinkedIn, but also through just networking and referral sources. So it was just to give you a bit of background that I provide kind of international financial advisory services. There's a lot of demand for it right now, but it's only so many hours in the day. So sometimes I find myself kind of, I don't want to say wasting time, because I don't want to boil it down to people being a number, but
Well, no, time is money, and your time, especially as a new father, is worth even more money, right? And not to say that anybody who doesn't have a child's time is not worth money, but I'll tell you that when you have a small child, time seems to evaporate, and so it does become an even more precious commodity. So you're saying that really what you're looking for is AI to help you qualify your leads.
Maybe qualify and go upscale. So I think there's going to be the opportunity for content generation, and I'm kind of joking here. I feel like I'm one of the best kept secrets, and so it's about amplifying profile and brand, casting a spotlight on the issues. I think there's lots of applications. In terms of the things that keep me up at night and preclude me from scaling, those are the things that are kind of highly regulated, that I'll never get past my company, you know, in the current moment. You know, they need to come to that conclusion, how to use AI for us to scale as a business from in terms of onboarding and compliance, data security, as you mentioned before. So I'm trying to think about the practical applications of using this to go and just, you know, like I said, either increase, amplify my brand, amplify the issues that people face that I can solve, and then therefore maybe go upscale from a lead generation perspective as well.
Okay. Well, and I might not be totally hitting this on the mark, but I'll try to give you some examples of what I've been doing a similar type of thing recently. And a couple of things is like, one, so I typically every day I'll ask, I have like, if you're in ChatGPT, I use ChatGPT for this. You can create a project, right? I'll create a project and then I have one chat that's just going and I'll tell it, like if you follow my LinkedIn right now, it's like, oh, he's always posting about current AI events. It's like, yeah, I'm having ChatGPT figure that out for me every day. I ask it to find recent news stories and to craft a LinkedIn post for them. And that I'm not fully automating, just because I've tried to do that automation and I might start trying it again. Sometimes it is easier to just have ChatGPT do something for you, and then it saves you some amount of time, but it's not completely automated, right? And I don't want to be posting 100 things on LinkedIn every day. It's like, yeah, if I post a few things on LinkedIn every day, that's good enough. But then having it just search for the news stories for me, and then I give it a even though I will prompt it, do not use hyphens, it loves using hyphens. Trying to get ChatGPT to stop using hyphens is one of the most impossible things. But I will just ask it to create a LinkedIn post for me on the 3 most recent news stories, and then I will just randomly go in, copy and paste it, and throw it on there. And so it doesn't save all the time in the world for it. It's not 100% of a time saver, but I don't have to go and look up new stories. I don't need to craft the post. I don't need to do anything. I can just get everything done within 20 seconds, you know, and then boom, I've got that. I also generated, and I was bringing this up earlier, I feel like commenting on people's posts is probably the best way to, or it's the way that I'm getting the most interest, right? And I had seen this on somebody who was talking about having, I don't know, they were bringing up having ChatGPT help you with a comment strategy. And I was like, oh, okay, like I guess commenting is a big deal. And it actually has been working out pretty well. And so I basically vibe coded out a system that would log into LinkedIn. It would grab 15 posts that were relevant. It would first download, and I do all these things in stages because until I'm really happy with it, I want to be human in the loop for each part. And so first it grabs the 15 posts, and then I have another script that goes and it generates comments for each one of those posts. I go in, and at that point in time, I take a look at them all, just to make sure that they're not terrible. And then if they are, I'm giving feedback to the LLM on how to make the script better. And then once I'm happy with all those posts, then I have it and it just automatically comments on everyone's posts. The whole process for me, what I just described, I mean, to vibe code it out was one thing, but now with it running, it takes me about like a minute to check the 15 posts that it goes through, maybe 2 minutes most. And then everything else is just me pressing buttons and it does it. And I have found that the commenting system is working. For sure. Like it works way better than just posting your own content. It's commenting on other people's posts about the topics that you're looking for. And then even if you don't want to do what I was doing before this, and why I set up the automated version, is that I was just going through myself, finding the posts, handing them to ChatGPT and telling it to come up with comments for them. And that's a quick way to just start. And again, like that might take a little bit of time, but it's way faster than going through and doing all the comments yourself, right? And the comments are better. Like it'll comment things that's like, yeah, sounds good to me. And so
you gotta pour some fire on those flames, man.
What's up?
You gotta pour some fire on those flames.
What do you mean?
Get that comment section.
Oh yeah. Up. Yeah. No, and I'll tell you, like, that is
super controversial.
Right.
Like, don't worry, AI's gonna replace all you anyway.
Right. No, exactly. But I think that for sure, commenting on people's posts are way better for your visibility. Even though like I have, say, 2,000 people who follow me on LinkedIn or that I have connections to, My own posts don't really do much. It's really commenting on other people's posts that will, especially like, people love that you comment, and then you can get more visibility on posts that you're commenting on. And then another way to potentially improve the brand. So I'm about to put out, I already put together Dr. Jeff's guide to AI for everyone. I need to probably circulate that more. I built that at the beginning of the year. I might update it, but then I had ChatGPT put together an AI roadmap and an AI what was it, playbook, and then so there's two different basically like they're going to be PDF documents, and so both of them I had to work with ChatGPT to do it a bit, but it took me like at most 20 minutes probably to get the content out of it that I wanted. At first it was a little bit sparse, and then I had to give it some feedback and ask it to spruce things up, but GPT-5 is really good. Once I got it to generate the content I wanted, it's good. From there, I've been using GenSpark to make the actual like formatted, designed PDF. I don't know how I feel about GenSpark. I mean, I think that it's cool, and I'm trying to get it to work well. I mean, it looks good on its face, but then some of the design and formatting things that it does are a little bit.
Gamma, that app that we were saying last time.
So Gamma, I've tried Gamma a little bit, but Gamma only does PowerPoints, right? Does it do PDF documents?
No.
It will?
Yeah, you could do documents. You can do all sorts of things.
I might need to try Gamma then instead, because I'm not happy with what GenSpark is doing with the PDFs. The other option is then just going on Fiverr and paying somebody like $25 to make it look good or something like that. Yeah, so it's Gamma or GenSpark, I think, are two different options. And then boom, now you can put together something again, like for yours, like an investment or a financial like guidebook or checklist or something like that. It's now a free value proposition. Boost that on LinkedIn, be like, here, get this for free. Just give me your email address, something like that. It's going to take some amount of time, but compared to how long it would take before, you're shrinking it by like 90% by using AI to do these things.
Sure, that's very helpful. I appreciate it. The only other thing I would add, and we don't need to like spend time on it because I know there's other people on the call, but I think in it might have been middle of August, the channel, the agency put out something around automation, and I have ChatGPT subscription. I got Perplexity Pro, and so I went to do like I think a Perplexity agent around trying to do like lead gen, and it came back and like yelled at me regarding GDPR or something, and I was kind of like, whoa, like I'm a white hat person. I'm not trying to fleece anybody's data or info. So the only reason I share that is because it's in a compliant or even ethical way navigating around that type of stuff. If I can get that out of the course or whatever, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So it was more so, yeah.
I have GPT-5. Oh no, I have Claude build me like web scrapers and all kinds of stuff, and it never gives me that issue. Maybe it depends on the way that you are positioned. Maybe
might have been the way that I prompted in terms of my industry, you know what I mean? And the fact that it was like, it kind of snapped at me, and I was like, all right, hey.
Yeah, no, and that came up also. Like, we were talking about these video generators. It's like you have to be careful with how you prompt them, because they will start to scold you and be like, oh, well, no, I'm not going to do that. That's illegal. And it's like, whoa, I didn't say that. To give you an example, I was trying to ask it once about a magic trick that I saw someone do, where they were writing something on, they had somebody else write something on a card and then fold it up, and then they could guess what was on the card. And I was like, well, maybe they're using some sort of way where they're had like some sort of Wi-Fi signal in the pen. Like, it seems like it's a regular pen, but it's something where it's sending Wi-Fi signal to their watch, and they can see what you're writing on their watch. So I was asking GPT about it. It started to trip on me. It was like, no, I'm not going to tell you how to spy on people. You're invading their privacy. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to figure out a magic here. Chill out, GPT. Like, and the same thing where it's like you were saying, like, here, just show me a battle. It's like, oh, we won't show any violence. It's like, hey man, I just want to see some dragons and some knights.
I even removed the battle part. It still wouldn't make it for me.
I've seen it also, right, where it's like, I'll ask it to do stuff with my own picture, and it's like, oh no, we can't do this, we can't make some. It's like, it's me. Like, I'm asking you to do something with a picture of me. I'm not a celebrity. It's fine. And it's like, no, we're not okay with that. I'm like, this is so weird.
This sleeveless shirt, it was like, this is a little racy. Like, oh my God, I'm a guy wearing a shirt.
I did one for Scoliosis Awareness Month for this organization, and it kept blocking me because a scoliosis brace is a medical device or something, and it's just like, yeah, we won't do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is for Scoliosis Awareness Month. It's not like some strange, I don't know, fetish thing. Like, chill out, GPT. We're good. So, Claude 4.5. Does anybody else feel this way? Has anybody else been trying out Claude 4.5, thinking that it's better for content?
It's better with tool calling for sure.
Really?
Claude, which has always been good for writing, is even better. I have a RAG agent that I created for a law firm, in addition to many other systems that we're still working on. But he's a New Jersey Medicaid lawyer. I got all the New Jersey documents and case law, which is considered his Bible. And he was playing with it all weekend. I mean, it's giving him. And I'm sorry, my point is I have Sonnet 4.5 as the brain.
Yeah.
To recall, to go after the chunks to do everything, and then put the final output together. And it's the output looks great. The content looks great. He told me this morning he's blown away by it. And yeah, I first was using like GPT 4.1, then I went to GPT 5, and then I went to Sonnet 4.5, and I have to say 4.5 has the better outputs for me.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I might switch over to 4.5. Really quick, Marv, I know you had this post, or you had this in the chat before. How would you start with AI automation for reaching out to buyers and sellers in real estate? So if you have the lists of buyers and sellers, we did 2 weeks ago an NAN automation where it's like, if you have their contact information and you have their name, you could put together a template email that will outreach to them. There's definitely some things you can do to make that more robust and more interesting. But if you already have people's contact information, then generating outreach emails is actually fairly simple. And again, we do have some NAN automations for it. If you need to get their contact information for the buyers and seller, so that's a whole other thing to be going into. Okay, tomorrow, Dr. Jeff special. I actually don't know what we're going to do yet. It might be something around lead generation. I'd have to figure out what exactly we want to do, but I will see everyone tomorrow. Great Q&A day today. If you have any more questions, bring them tomorrow. Welcome to everybody who's new. Hopefully, we will get you on your way, on your AI journey. Silvio, really quick.
So tomorrow, do you go over with a scenario, or how it works tomorrow?
So on Tuesdays, I just like come up with like an AI or automation topic that I think is interesting and will be helpful, and I present it. Last week, we went over Hugging Face. Are you familiar with Hugging Face at all?
I heard it, but I never use it.
Hugging Face, just really quickly, is like Wikipedia and YouTube for AI. Like any AI model, open source model that you could think of in the world is on there, and you can just download them and start using them. And so last week I was just showing people that. On Thursdays, we do N8N workflows, and we go over, like I show people how to connect together an N8N workflow, and we get it up and working from one of the templates. And then Fridays is usually more of like a lecture presentation where I go over concepts in AI, concepts in automation, things that give you a good foundation for more theoretical, whereas Tuesdays and Thursdays are more practical, like how to actually use some AI tools. Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Take care. Thanks, Jeff.